You ever been to Hawaii, Nolan?
No, never been to Hawaii.
Me neither, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to go now? Because I'm like a 12.
You mean for the beautiful sunsets and the just tremendous mountains?
Yeah, there were a lot of mountains in this, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Big,
many
lush
hills.
mountains.
Yeah. Rolling hills.
That's Oh my God. Welcome to
boy.
Bad Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we are discussing just a legendary bad movie in like the history of all bad movies. This one comes up on a whole bunch of lists. Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yeah, when you mentioned we were going to be watching this, the name was familiar. And that's odd for me because I'm not as informed as you are on the bad movies. I think I found out partway through why I knew it, and it was for one particular scene I think someone had asked me to go watch or find online, and that one was exciting to see here, and we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah, there's a couple of famous scenes. It kind of reminds me in that way of Miami Connection.
Yes.
Because that was a movie where things have been taken and like made into like just like GIFs and like short clips circulated online and stuff. And yeah, I recognize some stuff in this too. I'd never seen it before, but like yourself, I had seen those scenes. The cinematic universe of Andy Sedaris.
Yeah.
Not familiar with it, but he's made a couple other movies as well, I think. One of which, like a poster, shows up for in this.
I'm pretty sure most of the posters in this were other movies or things he had created. And after watching this, spoiler, I'm interested.
Yeah, that is, I think, one of the only things I have at the end here, because we're recording this right after watching, so my notes are a little sparse. But it was like, yeah, I will immediately seek out more Andy Sedaris films, because this was a fucking adventure.
And that is a nice way to put it. Definitely an adventure. Now, with all of our adventures, what do?
Well, we're going to, of course, pair the movie up with a beer. And I mean, this one today is just a slam dunk.
Yeah, this one's easy. Hard Ticket to Hawaii. We're going to be drinking the Hawaiian-style pale ale from the Spearhead Brewing Company. Spearhead's been around for quite some time, and this is kind of their flagship beer. To me, this was their very first beer. Definitely the one that I had from them first. They are a craft beer company who's been around in Ontario for quite some time. They brew out of Kingston. They have a broader selection of stuff now, but this was the one that they've made for a long time. I've drank this several times and quite like it. I'm excited to see how you feel about it.
I've had it a few times as well, but I honestly can't recall. I mean, I must have enjoyed it enough to have it more than once, but yeah, it's been a while, so we'll see.
It's a West Coast style pale ale, so similar to a West Coast IPA, but
Like we had for Days of Thunder?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So not too dissimilar to that, but also with fresh pineapple in it. So I think it's
Love it.
a little sweeter, a little more citrusy.
It'll make everything sweeter, won't it?
Yes, exactly. The characters in this movie can tell us all about
Hopefully eating a bunch of pineapple, some of them, yeah.
it. Yeah. All of them, I think.
Oh, God. I don't even know what to say about this. Yeah, I'm excited to try this beer again. I like that it's a pale ale and not an India pale ale. And I just can't fucking wait to talk about this movie. So why don't we just,
let's
quit
get into
the
it.
foreplay.
Yeah,
and
no
let's just-
foreplay here. They
There we
don't
go.
have a lot of that in this movie.
There's a little. We fade in on a beautiful Hawaiian sunset and an evening at the Ala Moana Yacht Club. There's a young couple getting ready to board each other on the Malibu Express. You should get in, Rowdy. The water's fine. And I'm struck by a couple of things here. First, the ridiculous cut on this guy's swim trunks. And second, the casual misogyny when he tells the woman that drug enforcement isn't a great job for a lady. Anything jump out at you in the scene, Noel, or?
Just how quickly we transition from a beautiful sunset into our first of the movie.
Yeah, there's nudity just instantly.
Yeah, tits out, pants down immediately in this one. Two fit young people who apparently both work for, I don't know if it's drug enforcement or the American government. The
FBI? They're called federal agents at the end, right?
Yeah.
CIA? I don't even know.
But they keep referring to James Bond throughout this thing, so I think they're supposed to be kind of secret agent types, and they're starting by going undercover with each other here.
Yeah, they are. It's weirdly meta, the whole James Bond thing. They keep coming back to it in this. One of the characters is obsessed with spy movies, and she's like, I'll just imagine I'm in a spy movie, which she kind of is. It's an odd choice.
It seems like a bit of a send-off here. Like she's heading off to go do her thing and he has to have his own mission. So this almost seems like a goodbye, but this isn't the last they're going to see of each other.
Oh, God, absolutely not. Yeah, I think we find out that he sends her to Hawaii or has her stay there and he's off doing something else.
Yeah, she goes to Hawaii for the drug enforcement job, and he has some other missions, but I think the importance of her mission gets ratcheted up throughout this, and he gets called in as backup.
Definitely. Well, after this romantic scene, we get a jarring transition to a couple of Asian security guards, police officers. What were these guys doing?
It says drug enforcement on their uniforms and the boat they rolled in on.
Yeah.
They're making all kinds of jokes about going to see a family that grows some weed. And they're like, these are small-time people. We don't need our guns. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, apparently, though, this is the area they're in is where all the weed on the island is grown, or like the majority of it. And mere moments later, they stumble upon a ragtag group of shady criminal types. This is a seriously weird assortment of people, and since they are clearly up to no good, the two officers decide to head back to base to alert their superiors and get some backup. But there's just one problem. Turns out the older guy is 1 week away from retirement, and you know what that means.
Yeah, being only a couple weeks out of your final days on the job, you know he's going to be the first victim of our movie. Both of them are running away back to the boat when they trip on a line which pulls them up into a tree, kind of like an animal trap here.
Yeah, classic booby trap. And then they are approached by three of the most mismatched henchmen you will ever see in your life. Remind me of the guys from Commando. Remember how they were all like different sizes and cultural backgrounds and didn't dress the same? That's kind of this group here.
Yeah, it is, I guess, a bit of mismatch of everything. Your gang needs to have like a sloppy, larger guy in a Hawaiian shirt. It needs to have a weird mustachioed skateboarding guy.
That's so fucking strange.
And then it also needs sunglasses guy, and he's literally termed sunglasses.
Like the name Shades. That's his
Shades,
name,
yeah, he goes by Shades.
God,
so yeah, we've got Shades. We've got, I don't know what we call the bigger guy, and then we've got mustache skateboard dude. And holy crap, it's quite the ragtag team. Shades is not taking any chances here. He's not going to allow this guy to reach retirement. He immediately walks up to the two agents and blows them away with a shotgun.
Did you say the two Asians?
Agents.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah, no, he blows them away, then tells his hilariously mismatched associates.
Run these two guys in their boat through the shredder and feed them to the fish.
And with that mic drop line, we immediately transition to a delightful series of opening credits where random warehouse workers load and unload crates with the cast's names on them. And in what I'm praying is dramatic foreshadowing at this point, one of those boxes contains a totally realistic looking live snake. We get a close-up of this thing in the box, and I cannot wait to see it in action. It's a fucking hand puppet, right?
Oh, yeah. We get a little bit of hand puppet action. They have done way too much work on this fucking snake. They are really setting this up to have a good payoff here. They make sure to show us there are two snake boxes, and one snake box has a snake that says contaminated. I don't understand what that means. Yeah. We're seeing the contaminated snake. It is clearly someone with their hand inside of this puppet, moving its mouth up and down. It does look menacing, but not at all real.
Yeah, not even a little bit. But I am excited to see it in action, like I said. And speaking of seeing things in action, we meet a couple of the island's finest cargo pilots in our next scene. That's Donna and Taryn, a pair of bubbly blondes who quickly shower up before putting on their scandalously revealing uniforms and heading to work. My hat's off to the costume department here. Truly great job by them. Now, you may be asking.
I'm not letting that fly because your hat's off is because pretty much the entire time women are in like crop tops and their tits are hanging out. You got under boob half of the time.
So much under boob.
So much ass is hanging out of most of the outfits that are gone here. It had to be a man who dressed these women for this movie, right?
Andy Sedaris, written, directed, and costumed by, I don't know. No. Now, you may be asking yourself, what, pray tell, are these ladies going to be transporting on today's flight? Well, in addition to a newlywed couple who's there to enjoy their honeymoon, we see a crew member load a certain crate containing a deadly live snake, which, yes, is contaminated.
Yeah, so
I don't know, how does the snake get contaminated?
Well, we're going to find out later. It's through scientific experimentation in rats, apparently. I don't know. They tell us. They fill us in a little bit about this snake. I think they're setting it up to kill someone here. I think the snake's going to get loose on the plane. I thought we would have our first rendition of snakes on a plane, but
ooh.
Yeah, no, that might be a movie that we could talk about on here too, I think. But
probably,
yeah. But no, it doesn't get loose. They get to the island. They drop off these honeymooners, and as they're getting ready to go back home after they're finished their workday, what happens?
Well, I have to say, you kind of skipped over a sequence in this movie that I absolutely loved, which is the lengthy time where we just see the cargo plane flying over the island's lush jungle and crystal clear waters, all while the sweet sounds of yacht rock pour out of the speakers. We get the movie's theme song here talking about how Hawaii is beautiful, but it's hard to get there. Or it takes a hard ticket
to get there.
I don't know. The singer's falsetto made it hard to tell. But either way, this is a great job of setting the mood for that newlywed couple in the back seat.
That is true. He was banging her while taking pictures
we don't
in the
know
plane.
that.
Well, they kind of suggested that was going on. But
I think you suggested that was going on.
You are right, though. The shots of the plane over Hawaii
Gorgeous.
are incredible. The yacht rock is great.
Too, for like a flyby camera shot here. This is not seem like stock footage.
It's interesting because this movie is clearly lower budget based on the actors they have in it, how much overdubbing there's had to been, like the musical score and that kind of stuff is lower in its expense, I would assume. But there are some places where they put a bunch of money in, kind of into explosions in some of the shots they take.
Oh, yeah. Somebody put a big chunk of money into this, I'm assuming. And I don't want to go out on a limb and say it was cocaine money, but I'm not convinced that it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that that's not true. So I'm sorry to skip over that beautiful part. We didn't want to not talk about the newlyweds banging each other in the plane. Yeah.
Well, you didn't know.
That's important.
No, that song is really setting the mood. But you know what is not going to help the mood? The fact that Donna and Taryn are carrying that contaminated snake on their plane, which their boss at the shipping company figures out and frantically tries to communicate to them. But they are busy showing that newlywed couple all the various places they'll be having sex outside. Still, that's going to have to take a back seat for now, as there's a much more serious threat on the horizon. Well, if you consider remote control helicopters serious.
Or the henchman and the big mob boss on the yacht that sends the helicopter over.
Mr. Chang?
Yeah, really serious British Asian guy.
We find that out later, but this is just a white guy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's bad.
He's not, yeah.
And so it turns out they're delivering these packages in the helicopter to the henchmen. I think this is a trade-off for some of those great drugs that are being grown on the island. So this is the payment, but that payment gets intercepted by our two cargo ladies here, Donna and Taryn.
Is that what happens? I couldn't really figure out here. It seemed to me like the toy helicopter showed up, and either they spot it or it spots them. Shortly after, the two mismatched henchmen from the beginning show up and start taking shots at them. I honestly have zero idea why at this point, but we kind of figure it out later. Luckily, Donna and Taryn didn't come unprepared. One of them grabs nunchucks while the other produces a throwing star from her boot. They both toss them at the goons, which I'm pretty sure is not how you're supposed to use nunchucks, but it does give them enough time to get back to the plane and take off. And how do those henchmen take it?
I dread facing Seth empty-handed.
Yeah.
This is yet another example of the audio being wildly unsynced.
And also the acting being wildly...
God, they're awful.
There is no emotion. Like, the two henchmen deliver those lines like, we're about to get our asses kicked, but they do it in the most, deadpan and terrible way ever.
Maybe it's a Zen thing.
Oh, yeah, so they just don't feel emotion. They just know it's going to go bad.
The skateboard guy is just like, hey, man, that's life.
He's been smoking too many doobies, apparently, is what...
hard doobies? Or what do they call it? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Fuck those. Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, man.
So this is funny because we find out that Donna is the sort of drug enforcement agent lady, or at least she's working and helping them.
Yeah, from the start of the movie. She's the one that he was boffing on that boat.
But they didn't know this helicopter was going to arrive with the pay, with diamonds for drugs. This just happened to show up while they were there. This was the lucky bust of her career out of nowhere, right? She just happened to be dropping off some newlyweds and a contaminated snake.
Yeah, your standard movie plot. After landing that plane and unloading the snake, they just keep teasing us with it. Donna and Taryn decide they need to unwind, so why don't we hit the jacuzzi? Sadly, we don't get to see this right away, as we pivot to a scene at a restaurant that is clearly meant to give us a comedy break, as opposed to the seriousness of the rest of this movie.
Yeah, it is way too serious. Yeah, there is some comedy aspects to the restaurant here. I think they're also trying to introduce us to the sort of boss man on the island. We're trying to get introduced to Seth here as well.
Yeah, that is the one serious part after that weird stuff with that old guy who's a perv. And, there are no 80s pervs, but he's really into the waitress and...
We get a New York casting sleazebag, a fairly accurate depiction of a gross old man who is pretending to give young women opportunities so that he can have sex with them.
Yeah, this guy would not have been out of place, say, playing one of the guys who runs those like brothels in the Exterminator. Remember that one?
Oh,
that
yeah.
Grid, yeah, he could have been one of those guys. Anyway, the leader of the gang, that is Seth, as you mentioned, Seth Romero, is here at the restaurant, and he is not pleased to find out that the pilots are now in possession of whatever it was this henchman was supposed to receive. It's diamonds, like you said. We find that out in our next scene, which thankfully does take place in that jacuzzi. Donna and Taryn crack open a small case which contains a bag full of diamonds, and they decide to report this back to Rowdy because this is where I figured out that Donna was the lady from the start. I did not have it before then.
Yeah, they look very similar. Even the two women they've chosen to be like fighting together on the island at times can get confusing.
Oh yeah, I was confused. They're very interchangeable. Just chesty blondes.
Big 80s blonde hair, similar styles.
Big hair. I wasn't sure where you were going with that. Yes, they have big hair.
Yes, Donna, they're both well endowed in the chest region.
Donna's got her, I think, by a couple of...
Yeah, well, they were
she's
having trouble.
She got a few more cups in her.
They were having
kitchen,
trouble finding shirts to contain Donna, so yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Rowdy is running his own op at the moment, one that involves messages hidden in sandwiches and casual racism. So Donna and Taryn are going to have to sit tight. But what they don't know is that evil boss from earlier has dispatched some more henchmen to find them, one of whom is a very toned lady. Like, the legs on her were just insane.
Clearly a bodybuilder, we find out later as she's doing some of her like bodybuilding flexes. But yeah, this henchwoman is strong.
She's impressive, yeah. And speaking of insane body parts, Donna and Taryn get to talking about Rowdy's manhood, which leads to this glorious line.
So tell me the truth, Don, about Rowdy. How's his stuff? Great. He's got 4 inches. 4 inches? That's not so hot. I measured him from the ground up.
That's great shit. Come on, man.
Yeah, you popped hard on that
I
one.
sure did.
It took me a while to process that one. It took me a second. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
His dick is
from the
only
ground
4
up.
inches from the ground.
Oh,
yeah.
goodness.
If we're talking about a snake that's lurking in this movie, Rowdy's got one in his pants.
But hopefully not contaminated.
Well, with all of the women he's
Donna's
banged,
in
it's
trouble.
likely been
Yeah.
contaminated.
Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Those henchmen arrive now, each one a worse actor than the last, and they threaten Donna and Taryn at knife point. The two of them fight back and successfully stop the henchmen from getting the diamonds, but in the scuffle, the snake gets loose. We don't see it bite anyone yet. The tease continues. But I think at some point, like a manhole cover gets knocked off. It's not totally clear to me what it was, but if that thing gets into the sewers, watch out.
That's definitely what it was. I think it was a septic cover.
Okay.
They knocked that off, and that's going to be a problem potentially in the future. There's a lot of directing the audience to shots in this. A lot of like slow zoom in on something to tell you it's going to be important later. I think they did grab the diamonds. Those hench people do get away with the diamonds here. There's still one package in the wind. It's lost. They haven't collected it yet, but they do get their one thing of diamonds back. So at least the henchmen have that as a win. Donna runs out, though, after they get threatened and fires off her gun and hits Seth right in the face.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he was there. You don't usually have like the boss of the operation going to the like attempted hit and just, being out there just gesturing wildly while bullets are flying. I mean, that's what he was doing.
It was interesting that he's there. He has a bit of a smaller operation, though, right? Not that many henchmen. Sometimes you got to go make sure things get done.
He's not the big boss, but I feel like he had enough guys. He didn't need to be there.
No, that's true. He was just doing the getaway, though. He was just driving the car, but that snake freaked him out, and everything kind of went to hell, and he left with a wound on his face.
That is true. Hey, speaking of that snake, Donna and Taryn's boss at the shipping company finally gets through to them and warns them about it. It is, in fact, contaminated with deadly toxins because it ate a bunch of cancer-infested rats. I don't know if it was a science experiment gone wrong or not, but that's what happened. For real, that's the story they're going with here.
That's insane.
It really is. I know. They tell their boss it's gotten loose and then have a lengthy conversation about their past, present, and future before heading out to the restaurant from earlier for a drink. And at this point, I'm forced to ask, are Donna and Taryn the real heroes of this movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of time with them in this. Rowdy's barely been in this thing.
No, I know that he is prominent in the center of the cover of this movie, but they are the two sort of heroines here. They are carrying the weight of the movie.
And laying out their lives here and like mistakes they've made and things they want. It's, really, really introspective.
But they're badasses too, right? Like they're fighting back. They're taking no guff. They are like...
taking no guff. Guff is the one thing they're not taking.
No, well, and they're taking as much talk as they want, and that's good for them, right?
They're
like they
empowered.
are very empowered women in here. They're fighting back and opening their legs to whoever they feel like.
There you go. We found a kind of feminism you like. That's good. 5 seasons ago. Anyway, thanks to their friend at the restaurant, Donna and Taryn are finally able to get through to Rowdy, who gives them some information about Seth Romero's operation in Hawaii. It's a big one. Seth is a major player in the drug game, so Rowdy says they're in trouble, but he has no idea. Turns out there's some lady at the bar listening in on their conversation. Now, all of this is going to be a heavy weight on Donna and Taryn, but luckily, Taryn at least is a way to take her mind off things. She reconnects with a sportscaster friend she spots at the bar, and by reconnects, I mean gets nailed by him on the beach. Seems like he puts in a pretty good performance here. I guess must be all those vitamins he's taking, eh?
There's like a 3-minute shot of him describing the multivitamins he eats to some athletes, and it's just ridiculous.
Pure filler scene.
Yeah, there's some padding in this for sure, and that one seemed to be one. That whole relationship between her and the sportscaster out of nowhere.
Unless that scene's padding, unless it's there to set up his excellent sexual performance on the beach.
Well, they did want that, right? Like, this guy's purely hired so the two of them can bang on the sand.
Yeah, it's just a way to backdoor some more nudity into this movie. We need someone for Taryn to sleep with.
Well, it's interesting because there is so much nudity and sex in this, but they do keep it like almost monogamous, which is interesting.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Donna and Taryn are not really switching off or anything. Despite what we were anticipating was going to happen in this movie, they don't ever.
Yeah, I know you're a little disappointed about that. Yeah,
well,
but
whatever.
Yeah.
It took a while, but Rowdy finally arrives in Hawaii in our next scene. I guess it really is a hard ticket to get. He couldn't get there for a while. He rolls in with his friend from the boat earlier, and as they're driving to wherever Donna and Taryn are, they notice a strange character doing a handstand on a skateboard. Now, we know it's one of those mismatched henchmen, and sure enough, he alerts his partner that Rowdy is on the island, so I guess they knew he was coming, which explains why they've got a gun ready to kill him. What is not explained, however, is why they're riding around with a blow-up doll in the car, or why the henchman brings the doll with him when he tries to kill Rowdy. How's that work out for him, Noel?
Well, I think the blow-up doll is to distract Rowdy and his friend. It kind of works because they get real close with that gun. They do see the gun before it's too late and call it out. A shot goes off, and his ponytailed buddy does get hit with some shrapnel. And they do not take this well. So they drive after the henchman. They back into him, launching him into the air. And what does Rowdy do?
He pulls out a quad rocket launcher, and he launches a rocket that hits the mustachioed henchman and blows him just to smithereens. The guy explodes. It's just blood and viscera everywhere. But then we cut to the fucking blow up doll is like floating through the air from the explosion. And he rockets that all. So there's an explosion when it hits the blow-up doll.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the blow-up doll had to die.
Crime against sex doll in this movie is what we've learned.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck me. That was so funny.
I interpreted it to be that the sex doll was actually the partner of the mustachioed skateboarder, and he wanted full vengeance for the shot.
Oh, fuck, man. Yeah,
he couldn't let his partner live.
No, but the skateboard rolls away, and he mentions letting that live.
Letting it go.
Fuck's sakes, dude. This scene was absolutely glorious. I don't understand why he blows up the sex doll. It makes no sense. But anyway, when the dust settles, Rowdy's friend is hurt, but not as bad as their Jeep, which conks out mere blocks from where Donna and Taryn are. They'll be meeting up soon, though. But you know who we haven't seen in a while? That newlywed couple.
Yeah, they got dropped off the night before. We assume they've been banging on the beach all night. They cut back to them, and they do have kind of like a quasi tent set up here. They did enjoy the night together. And the new husband is taking a bunch of Polaroid pictures of his new bride. She's getting her to pose in all kinds of ways. And unfortunately for them, though, what pops out right as they're kind of doing the peak of their photo shoot?
Come on, Jamie, would you smile? There's nobody out here. Come on. Oh, that's wonderful.
It finally happens. We get the snake. But you know what, though? I say it finally happens. I have mixed feelings about this, though, because, yes, the snake attacks, but very disappointing that we don't get to see it actually bite somebody.
Full cutaway here, right? We get like just a brief glimpse of something coming out of the weeds.
Yeah,
here.
there's a scream, it pops out. But again, a disappointment. However, writer-director Andy Sedaris clearly anticipated this reaction as he immediately gives us more unnecessary nudity to win the audience back. Turns out breasts aren't the only thing being revealed in the next sequence, though. That lady who was listening on their phone call earlier, turns out she wasn't a lady at all. Are you comfortable with me saying that, or?
Well, I think in this, they're suggesting that the person was cross-dressing for the role, not as a identity thing. So I think it's okay. Michelle became Michael as they
Literally,
changed,
those are the, okay. All right.
As they change back.
Well, if
into
you're
the
okay with it, I'm sure our listeners are fine.
Maybe not, and they're welcome to send us feedback if we're doing this
Jesus.
wrong.
All right. Yes, that's fine. Well, as you said, after Michelle reveals herself as Michael, literally, those are character names, don't get mad at me, he meets up with the henchmen from the home invasion, and they grab Donna and Taryn's friend from the bar. Edie, I think her name is?
Same name as the bar, Edie. Yeah.
Okay.
It's her place.
She's going to tell Seth Romero everything about Donna, Taryn, Rowdy, and where the diamonds are. And I would say that I don't like this lady's chances of making it out of this situation, but since in a second we see Donna and Taryn watching from a distance through a pair of binoculars and something that looks like a giant Walkman, she might just be okay.
Yeah, they're on the case. I think they're giving us a sign that they're going to go try to rescue her. We're setting that part up here. We know that Rowdy and his ponytailed buddy are here to help them take down Seth and the rest of the gang, so maybe they will get there in time, but I don't know. Maybe not before she is handled strongly by some of the goons.
What is this fucking Walkman thing they're holding? This giant yellow...
It was an early video camera.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was definitely an early video camera. It was pretty awesome. I don't know why it was the yellow Walkman color, but it was pretty hilarious.
All right, that's fair.
They asked about the zoom feature. They also spent a bunch of time zoomed in on the sunglasses guy playing Frisbee with a woman on the beach.
That's important later, though. Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh. I guess seeing their friend in mortal danger reminds Donna and Taryn they should probably check on those newlyweds they dropped off a couple of days ago. So they head over there where they find a truly grisly scene. The wife is basically decomposing. She's essentially a pile of goo with a bikini top floating on top of it, and the husband isn't doing much better. Donna and Taryn are thoroughly confused about what happened to them, but that all changes when they find a Polaroid photo stuck in the husband's camera.
Look, it's developing. The snake. I thought Dick and Cincy want to pick up that damn thing.
They wisely decide to get the hell out of there, but as we see the snake's head and immediate neck area retreat from view, so we know that will not be the last we see of it. That's all we ever see. It's just the part that a hand can fit in.
They do show the rest of the body at times.
They do not. That I will no. Yes. Absolutely not.
No, they do a full shot of the snake.
No. The most we see is like a tail off to the side. No fucking chance.
Oh, I think they show most of this like created snake. It's clear that it's not real, but I think they do a good job of showing it. I actually think the body is fairly realistic. The head and like the fang area is a little rough.
Yeah, when I watch this again, and I will be watching this again, I will prove that I am correct. You do not see the whole body, and if not, I'll put up a fucking. We'll do one of the I was wrong things on the on the Instagram. Sure. After a completely unnecessary and pretty awful comedy scene featuring Taryn's sportscaster friend interviewing a couple of football players, we get to see Rowdy, Donna, Taryn, and Rowdy's friend gearing up to take on Seth Romero. Donna's got footage of the one henchman from that very beginning playing Frisbee with a local, like you kind of mentioned. Apparently he does it every day, and Rowdy can use that when formulating a plan. We also get some footage here of that lady henchwoman? I don't know, flexing and wielding nunchucks in a sexy bikini. I'm not sure what the point of this was, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of padding in this. There was also a weird sumo interlude that came out of nowhere.
Yes, I forgot about the sumo guys.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them trying to spread this out to be a full feature film, I think.
The special guest stars, as mentioned in the credits. Yeah. The sumo guys. Yeah.
We got some more racism of her, like speaking French and Italian to these Japanese.
She's
fellows.
confident in herself. That's a good thing.
There's several problematic things in this for sure, but we're moving along. Plan is coming together for them to take down Seth and his goons in the next morning.
Yeah, but just because they're in the middle of this difficult plan doesn't mean that Rowdy doesn't have time to bang Donna in this next scene. They get naked and start going at it very loudly. Actually, it's just Rowdy who's being loud, and I don't really understand why. Like, I have no idea what she's doing to him based on the way their bodies are positioned, but he likes it almost as much as he likes fondling the area just below her breasts. I don't know if the actress wasn't cool with getting groped or what, but this is super weird. Also weird, Rowdy's philosophy on love.
What do you feel?
One man's dream is another man's lunch.
I don't know, man.
I'm not sure if he was referring to eating her out at this point. I feel like that might have been what he was talking about, but
Maybe. What's with all the weird rib stuff though, and the fucking?
Well, I think you're right.
weird-
I think there was a rider on groping breasts probably in the contract, and in terms of him moaning while she's like on her knees but head at his chest, I don't know. Maybe she's doing some good work with her hands.
Could just be hand stuff, or maybe his dick really is that long, like she alluded to earlier, and that's why.
Well, that might
just
be
a-
what they're implying too. The scene that gets them into that is actually kind of a nice cut from Torture. We actually get like a shot of their friend Edie screaming while being tortured into him screaming while being touched. So
It's a great transition.
yeah, nice cut there.
Andy
There's a little bit of
Sedaris
scene work on that.
Oh, fuck, man. Well, with all that out of the way, it's time to put their plan into action. That Frisbee girl shows up right on time to toss some disc with the one henchman, and Rowdy jogs up beside her, subtly implanting himself as a third wheel. The henchman isn't cool with it, and before long, he and Rowdy are in a Frisbee-based dick measuring contest.
You don't look so hot to me.
Oh, yeah? See if you can catch this.
This guy has no idea what's coming, and after a few innocent throws, Rowdy switches out the Frisbee for one covered in razor blades and sends it right through the guy's hand and into his neck. God damn, that was outstanding.
This is the scene I had seen before.
Yeah.
This is the one where, like, as a disc golfer or someone who throws Frisbees quite a bit, people on your social media will send you links to shit, and I had definitely seen that clip before, and I'm sure someone had been like, it's from Hard Ticket to Hawaii, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. But,
Yeah.
oh, what a great scene. I can't believe that fucking flying disc goes through his hands and into his neck and just ends him.
Yeah, I would not have believed that you could make a macho Frisbee scene, but this is it.
Oh, yeah.
The two
oh,
of them
yeah,
are just going, yeah?
Yeah.
How about this one? Look at
Catch
this
this
one.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
fuck me. Well, with that guard out of the way, it's time to storm Seth Romero's compound, and storm it they do, with Donna flying in on some kind of glider while Rowdy, Taryn, and the other guy drive up in their Jeep, complete with the quad rocket launcher that took out that sex doll earlier. Get ready for action, Noel. Ridiculous low-budget action.
Oh my goodness, we have them crash through a fence in that Jeep as the one guy's standing with the rocket launcher on. We've got Donna in the glider dropping grenades.
Noise grenades, they called them.
Yeah, they're just trying to like make sound to lure out the bad guys so that they can have a shootout here. We get a lot of weird like one-on-one battles where it doesn't seem like Rowdy, Donna, and the others are really that capable, but they do blow away the henchmen.
I agree. There's a bit of a like chickens with their heads cut off thing here about the way they approach this. Also, I don't know why you would ever pass on a stealthy approach to lure henchmen out with the sounds of noise, but that's what they do. And this sequence just has everything. Explosions, gunshots, martial arts fights, and yes, the rocket launcher. Although for some reason when Rowdy hits a guy with it, it sends him flying out of a window instead of blowing him to a million pieces like the guy on the skateboard. Maybe the rocket was a dud? I don't know.
It did seem that way, or maybe the like window or like screen he was behind took more of it than he did personally.
Then why is he launched out of it?
I don't know.
Also,
Yeah.
smoke comes out like after he's out, which does not make any sense.
It was a bit of a problem for sure. The other kills were a bit more convincing. We had like an Uzi kill. We had a guy get his neck slashed with like these claw things.
Yeah, he had like, it looked like they were like pulled pork shredding claws that you were like barbecuing.
Oh my God.
But the ponytail guy had it on his hands, then he just, yeah.
I can't believe you went right to barbecue when you saw that man's neck get torn apart.
You didn't get hungry?
No.
Oh, that's weird. Well, don't worry, because the next time they use the rocket launcher, it works to perfection, blowing up a helicopter that had that buff lady henchman in it. So I guess it's all over, and they drive off into the sunset before one of them asks the question that you had just asked me like mere seconds before. What about Seth? You know, that main bad guy and the entire reason they're doing all this in the first place? Anyone kill him? No? Did we forget about him?
It was completely unaccounted for, and they only realized after they had made their escape in the villain's van. Luckily for them, the villains had a motorcycle or a dirt bike in that van so that Rowdy could ride off. Now, what I didn't understand was how was Donna already home away from them? Like, they had already dropped her off when they realized quite some time had passed here.
That's what it is. It's time just passes. He busts out in that motorcycle, and then we cut to like, I think hours later.
But the only reason he busted out was to go help save Donna. He knew she was in trouble because Seth wasn't there.
But she was in the van with them,
No,
wasn't she?
no, she wasn't.
I don't know, man.
They had dropped her off, and then
Okay,
they
hang
had
on.
realized.
Is that more likely, or is it more likely that this world-class picture had a continuity editing mistake where...
The only thing that makes sense in my mind is that Donna had been dropped off, and then they realized.
Yeah, maybe. So when she got out, she wasn't like, great job, I'm glad we killed Seth, everybody.
Yeah, or maybe she did, and it took them that long to figure it out.
Maybe Seth's holding on to the bottom of the van, and when they drop her off, he like drops
rolls
down
out.
Oh.
Very possible. They just didn't show it because the film didn't work there. The cut didn't work. I don't know.
Either way, the fact that they just forgot about him here is fucking incredible.
Yeah,
like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. But he has not forgotten about Donna shooting him in the face earlier. And later that night, we see him lurking in the shadows of her home, just waiting for the perfect moment to strike, which he does in the least effective way possible before she shoots him in the chest with a harpoon gun. So I guess now it's all over. And no, wait, he's still alive. This is like fucking Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Just wrap it up already.
30 minutes of extra fake out endings.
There's so many endings in this.
Seth is not giving up. He does not like that his face got nicked by that gun earlier, by that bullet. And he's got a harpoon through his chest, but he still has his switchblade and he's going to try to take her out. Luckily for Donna, part of his like aorta squirts blood across the kitchen before he can come around the corner, so she's ready for the attack. She grabs the knife with her hand, does take a little bit of damage there, but overpowers him and stabs him in the gut. He's dead now.
Definitely, yeah. After attacking her and getting harpooned, then attacking her again and getting stabbed, it looks like Seth Romero's reign of terror is finally done. Or, and stay with me here, what if he's actually still alive? That's what Donna finds out after slumping down next to her toilet, the flushing of which signals the return of the real villain of this movie, the contaminated snake. This thing explodes up out of the toilet, which sends Donna running. But, and I actually love this part, Seth doesn't notice her leaving the bathroom. He just hears sounds inside and assumes that she's still in there. So he opens the door, ready to stab her with the knife he pulled out of his own stomach, only to get immediately bit in the face, which causes him to slump to the ground, finally dead for reals this time.
It took a contaminated snake to kill this motherfucker, but it finally happened.
Yeah, man, he's actually done. For not joking. It's real this time. He's actually dead. And just when you think they can't possibly pack any more action into this thing, the snake is menacing Donna. She is absolutely terrified as it closes in, preparing to strike, when suddenly Rowdy, who I still believe has been riding his motorcycle around the island for like 6 hours straight, or however long it's been since they realized nobody had killed Seth, smashes the bike through a door and bazookas the fucking snake. I don't even know what to say at this point, man. This movie is just tremendous.
The snake's head explodes, just the snake's head.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then it leaves a stump of the snake there. Donna, you said she was petrified. She was shooting that snake in the fucking face. So, like, she had her gun out and she was fighting back. I want to give her agency here.
She's drenched in sweat, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you had a toxic snake and some guy trying to murder you, you'd probably be a little bit sweaty.
Some unkillable guy.
Yeah.
You just keep putting down as you get maybe.
When Jason Voorhees will not stop trying to kill you.
Yeah. Oh, man. You'd think that would wrap it all up now, but they decide to follow this thing all the way to the top. So Rowdy and the crew head over to the penthouse of the main drug supplier, Mr. Chang, that white Asian gentleman from earlier, and they blow him away. Well, actually, it's the wind that nearly blows him away, as the dummy that goes flying out the window after they shoot him looks like it was made out of like crumpled up paper. This thing is practically floating through the air. It moves more sideways than it does down.
It is definitely a paper mache version of Mr. Chang, for sure. They just put the clothes on him and then a paper mache dummy. This is interesting, right? Because he has a big goon that is guarding him, and they like dispatch him rather quickly by beating him in the head. And he throws a samurai sword at them, but Donna takes him out with her massive gun.
Yeah, no, they get past this guy. They get to Mr. Chang. They send him out that window, where eventually, after much floating, it crashes down to earth. And Taryn's sportscaster friend of all people gets the last word in this scene.
Ooh, man, I've heard of guys being dropped for a loss before, but this is really radical.
Radical is a great way to describe everything we've seen here.
Both like appropriate based on the timeline of this movie and how insane everything is.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact that Jimmy John, the sportscaster,
is that his name?
That's his name. The sportscaster who eats a lot of vitamins and fucks our like lady who's in hiding in Hawaii, is there for the final kill and the one to make the final pronouncement is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, why is he there?
They brought him along because Taryn like wanted him there. I guess she did say that her role was to fulfill all of his needs. She has this like
What?
hilarious
I missed
line.
that
Oh my
part.
god,
Okay.
yeah. What does she say?
Oh no! Donna accuses her of being like a vessel for. his...
she said my job is to be a receptacle for
doesn't-
all
I
of
thought
Jimmy.
Donna called her that. Oh.
No,
She's naming herself a receptacle?
She is a
Oh, God.
receptacle for all of Jimmy John's desires. So
Hello.
that's what fulfills her apparently.
Oh, Jesus. So that's all done, but somehow we're still not finished as we cut to the crew celebrating on a yacht and Taryn pointing out that they don't technically have to return the diamonds since she, as the only non-federal agent, isn't legally obligated to do so. Not only that, there's also no law against her sharing these ill-gotten gains with her friends, who again are all federal agents. I'm 100% sure this isn't true, but that's where we leave it. They all cheers and we head to the credits. A credit sequence that features pretty much exclusively the sexy moments from this film. And this is where I wrote that I don't know what other movies Andy Sedaris has written and directed, but I will definitely be finding them as soon as humanly possible.
Man, the first clip in between credits, like they shoot to basically a paper holding the names of the people in the cast, and then straight to and then back to a paper with names, and then back to breasts, and it is just like repeated over and over shots of either sex scenes or breasts in between the credits.
There was one where it was Rowdy and the ponytail guy like doing their karate on the boat, but yeah, otherwise it's just sexy ladies.
Oh, it was them in their like prime racist moment in the movie. Yeah.
Listen, in 1987, you could do that accent and no one got upset. I shouldn't say no one.
What do you mean?
Well, maybe some Asian people got upset.
Asian people didn't feel comfortable standing up for themselves at that time.
Society didn't get upset.
Yeah.
The
society of white men. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that.
What a hilarious ending to the movie, right? I would love to have been the like lead grip in this movie and my name come across right in between all of the sex scenes. Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Perfect.
Andy Sedaris, well done. I don't even know what to say beyond that. Like, just great job by him. I got to figure out something to say because we're at about the time where we go into our ratings.
This is kind of a speechless movie, right? This is one of those where there is so much ridiculousness going on. I almost want to watch the bonus features with the director just to be like, this is what I intended.
Hey man, listen, if you want to borrow the Blu-ray, this is why physical media forever. This is the reason why right here. If you want to go deep on some hard ticket to Hawaii extras, you've got that option because of this physical media. So yeah, man, I think right now we should probably transition to our ratings. The way we always do this, we rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 two times. 1 to 10 for how bad it is, 1 to 10 for how enjoyable. And the goal is to find movies that are 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And I'll be honest, it would probably be faster for me to tell you the parts of this movie that aren't bad. In fact, that'll take no time at all because there aren't any. This thing is so fucking bad from a production standpoint. The acting is completely atrocious. Like, I don't know how they couldn't manage to find one competent actor in the entire state of Hawaii, but that's what happened. They pretty much didn't sync up the audio at all. Most of this is clearly overdubbed and huge parts of it are just off. The music is ridiculous. The plot is convoluted and confusing. The special effects are laughable. For fuck's sakes, the snake is a hand puppet, and it is an enormously important part of this movie. Pretty much the only good thing you can say about this is that the location is gorgeous, but that's really more of a commentary on Hawaii than it is anything else. So I absolutely have this as a 10 bad. What about you?
I'm not going to argue with you. This is a 10 bad.
Yeah, man.
Acting stands out as a number one.
Awful.
There is zero delivery on any of these lines. You don't believe any of these characters. They are there because they are all fit and sexy people.
That's good.
Men and women alike, right? Like our main male character appears on screen in the first time in a women's bathing suit. Like basically,
you think that's what it was?
No, it was a man's bathing suit, but it was a European cut.
Oh, that's a very European cut. That's like deep, dark Europe. It's like an Estonian cut.
Yeah. So, like, they really just wanted to show off all of the hard bodies in this and the soft parts of those bodies, too. The acting itself was terrible. Yeah. The effects, other than the occasional explosion, but they weren't consistent, right? No. Were pretty awful. The snake, I don't even understand why it was included. Like, somebody had a hard-on for a snake puppet. Yeah. Like, I don't understand why that was a part of the plot. And talking of plot, it's insane.
Yeah.
Right? Like the whole thing is so shallow and ridiculous. The music is appropriate, but not
Not
great.
good. No.
Right? There's no bangers. And then the overdub sound is like really struggled with for a while, particularly the beginning. As they got into that faster action at the end, it suffered less, but
It's
it was pretty
glaring.
bad
It's
too. Yeah.
glaring at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really bad during the build-up time. So this is 100% a 10 bad.
Wait, did the sound get better or did we just get used to it?
Probably the latter.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I'm not convinced that if we started the movie and like halfway through that we'd be like, oh yeah, this overdub is much better. No, I think it's bad. Yeah.
I think it was bad, and we just got used to the timing of it. Our brains compensated for the the crappiness of what
Our
we were
brains
saying.
were compensating for a lot, I feel.
Yeah.
So 10 bad. That means the crit 20 is in play. How enjoyable did you find this movie on a scale of 1 to 10?
So, location, you brought that up as the thing that wasn't bad. Beautiful spot,
Mm-hmm.
right? Great shots. I love that they filmed on location.
Yeah.
Even the names of most of the places they were using were the real places, which I thought was pretty cool.
that
They
is
gave
cool.
credit to a lot of them at the end.
How do you think they felt about that when they saw this fucking movie?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That could be a bad one.
At the time, they were probably like, that's going to bring a lot of dudes in.
Exactly.
I thought the action was fun, particularly the ridiculous over-the-top stuff.
yeah.
The explosions with the rocket launcher were insane. Some of the terrible martial arts that led to, like, fights and deaths were pretty funny.
Yeah, man.
It was just so ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
everything about it was
Yes.
insane. The bazookas, the snake. Although the snake made zero sense, I did love that they kept doing close-ups on it and teasing us for the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, they waited till the very end, and then the payoff was it exploding out of a toilet and taking out the big bad.
And then also exploding when he fucking bazookas it.
So that was pretty great. Just an over-the-top amount of nudity in this.
That's got to be worth something. Come on.
Yeah, which isn't taken away from it, I guess. If we're going to be going for this style of movie, you got to embrace it and go with what you got. So all of that together, the 1980s of it, all of the ridiculousness, I think I have to do it. This is another 10. This is the crit 20.
Crit 20.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Good
it's
stuff.
just so insane. Just not what I expected. For me, it's always those movies that go to like extremes that lead
Yeah.
to my crit 20s. I don't think any of them have been like something that isn't way over the top. I think they've all been there, but they are the perfect sort of bad movies for me. The ones that just like give zero shits and just go
Yeah.
for it without any care.
They go for the gusto.
And they did, Andy.
Yeah, they did.
Andy, way to go,
Sedaris.
buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, it just took this thing to some ridiculous places. And much like yourself, I mean, all these things that we said are bad are also things that I just fucking loved. Like, I love that the audio is a little bit off. Some of the lines in this they're cringy, but in a good way where you're like, oh my God, that kind of thing. I did laugh at a few of them for sure. The action sequence is ridiculous. That fucking car hit explosion with the bazooka, and he
God.
blows up. Just the blowing up the doll, completely unnecessary. Which to me just made it even funnier because you see it happening, and I'm like, they're not going to shoot the fucking doll, and they shoot the fucking doll. Oh, you're right. The snake thing makes no sense. It didn't need to be there. I feel like somebody just got the idea. They might have reverse engineered that. Like, we want to have the snake fall out of the toilet. Then how do we get there? It's going to bring a snake in. They do all this shit with it. They kept teasing us, and I almost got a little nervous, being like, the payoff for this will not be worth it. And I was wrong. It was totally fucking worth it. Just a glorious time. Let's talk about the nudity.
Yeah.
You know, we are two red-blooded males, wildly different political views, but you know what? There's one thing we do agree on. Titties.
I am fully for people who want to embrace their nudity and share that with the world.
And as you pointed out, these are empowered female characters.
Yeah.
They're making these choices. They're living their lives. They're doing their career stuff. And yeah,
Good for them. Yeah.
Great for them.
Yeah.
Great for them. Great for us. No, this is the kind of movie where we watched something else where we were like, the problem with this is there should be nudity in a movie. I forget what it was now, but whatever it was, that was the one where like, for this level of movie, if you like rented this in like the 80s, 90s, you were expecting to see nudity. And if you didn't, it was a letdown. There was no letdown here. Andy Sedaris came out of the gates early and just went back to it often. Like, again, at one point I turned to you, were like, there's nudity like every 2 to 3 minutes in this, which
He went swinging as those breasts were swinging across the screen constantly. Like he was swinging for the fences with nudity, and he did it. When we saw rated R at the start of this movie, both of us kind of high-fived a little bit because we were like, this has to be that, because if this was a PG-13 or even like what is it, 14A kind of movie,
they have that anymore.
We would have lost that, right? Like we wouldn't have had that.
Well, because we know that the acting's not going to carry it. There's no character work here. It has to come down to just like exploitation grade action effects, nudity, all of that. And this movie had it all. It really did. Insanely fun, much like yourself. I'm giving this the full crit 20. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, buddy. Great fucking times here. Hard Ticket to Hawaii. I love that we had something this strong early on in our season here. It's only our 4th episode. This fills me with optimism for how the rest of this is going to go.
Yeah.
It must be nice for you coming off the fucking Village last week too, or not last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
No, this was great. I had a really fun time with this. Yeah, I think that the best way you put it was this is exploitation quality movie, but one that brings the enjoyment you're looking for, and it was really fun.
Definitely. This is exactly the kind of movie that we're looking for here. And so no surprise that it pulled a crit 20 from both of us. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happened. Now, how did you feel about this beer?
It was excellent. It's something that I've drank several times before. I knew what I was getting into here. Very good West Coast style pale ale IPA. I think it tastes more like an IPA than a pale ale, to be honest. To me personally, I think it leans closer to that. I like that it's a little bit sweeter because of the pineapple in it, but definitely finishes with those like traditional pine hops notes.
Okay. I'm going to say something here that's going to blow your mind. I preferred the West Coast IPA we had for Days of Thunder. I almost said fucking Top Gun. Yeah. This to me, maybe you're right, maybe like closer to an IPA. It did not have the pale ale flavor I was looking for. Also, I got no fucking pineapple out of this. I've had this before, and now I'm maybe like realizing why it's been so long since I had it. I think I tried it, was like, I don't know, tried it again, was like, eh.
I think the difference, this like same recipe has been brewed for a long time. Since we've got this, people have put a lot more fruit into their beers, and those beers taste more like that fruit. Mm-hmm. I think the pineapple in this is almost used more for like sugars that like help build the alcohol in the beer and less for flavor. I would actually be interesting if they would make one of these where they dumped a shit ton of pineapple in late.
Okay.
Like after the brewing process and made it much more pineapple flavored to see if it might feel like, I would think that would be a cool like small batch for them to try to make this, but dump a crazy amount in late so that you had more of the like real pineapple or even chunks of pineapple in this bad boy.
Yeah, I would probably make it more appealing to me, and I would definitely try that. But this one for me just didn't really work. And like I've had other Spearhead beers I've really enjoyed. They used to make like a tropical punch beer that I fucking loved. It just tasted like tropical punch with like a little bit of like beer flavor in there. They also have, or they had, I don't know if they're still making it, a Queen of the Night like dark lager, and that was really tasty.
Still there.
They've made some stuff that I enjoy. But this, I don't know. Not a fan. Probably won't drink it again if I remember that I don't like it. There's better pale ales out there for me, or maybe more the style that I enjoy. But yeah, the fact that I enjoyed that West Coast like legit IPA from like a month ago more than this, that is very telling to me. So
yeah, I do
not my beer, Spearhead.
I do really think this is an IPA, not a pale ale. I think our thinking around pale ales has changed over the last few years, even since this was created and born. I think they are a lot lighter in flavor than what this is. This definitely tastes like a West Coast IPA to me.
Well, and that's my only like experience with pale ales, because I didn't drink pale ales until a few years ago, so I'm kind of used to like the newer style, which maybe like this is not that, and that's where
I think expectations are not meeting the reality for you here, right? And that's the weird part. But I would recommend trying it out if you like West Coast IPAs. I think this could be a go-to for you. This is a really easy to drink IPA, and I think you should try some stuff from Spearhead. Definitely cool. I've never been to the brewery. I think that would be one I would like to visit.
Another Prince Edward County.
Holy
There's
crap,
so much happening out there.
I can't believe how much is growing out there. That's another road trip at some point.
Definitely love the idea. Speaking of trips, 2 weeks from now, we're going to be taking a trip to rural Texas for our Halloween episode. We're going to be watching a movie called The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Wait for it. The Next Generation.
Oh, okay. I have definitely seen the original.
One of my all-time favorite horror movies.
I think I've also seen number 2, and this
super
is not
fucking
it.
weird, but really enjoyable.
Yeah.
No, this is the 4th movie. It was an attempt to like relaunch the franchise essentially, and it stars 2 very familiar actors, kind of like before they were famous. Although it ended up then in a weird way coming out after they had become famous. A little bit of history there that we'll get into, I'm sure, 2 weeks from now. But yeah, our first ever Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie seemed very appropriate for Halloween, I thought.
And who are the actors?
Do you really want me to tell you?
Okay, yeah, keep it a secret. We'll wait till next week.
All right.
All right, that sounds
All
good.
right.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey's in it?
I did not say that. Anyway, that'll be 2 weeks from now, our Halloween episode. We hope you'll join us for that. Before then, if you haven't already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, we're still calling it Twitter, eh? No X. I like it.
I don't
We're just
like
sticking
it.
to our guns. I like that.
You hate Elon Musk. Why do you want to call it X?
I don't. I'm just saying I love that we're sticking
You
to
call
our
him a
guns.
monster like literally an hour ago?
I never would do that, yeah.
Fair enough.
If you'd like to send us an email, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. We always love to hear from you, and we are early into our 5th season, so if you have any audience requests, we might be able to fit them in before the end of the year here. But yeah, I think we're off to a great start so far. It's a lot of fun. Nice to sneak in a crit 20 early in the season.
Yeah, that was really exciting and surprising. I did not expect that going in.
Me neither, but I was hopeful. And now I hope that our episode 2 weeks from now will go just as well. Please join us to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the next generation. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Keep blowing up those sex dolls.
Metaphorically or literally? Both. Pay the price for paradise.